different parts of the country about Bruiser Brody. Big man, but it don't seem like they ever find anybody who's got any equal ability to get in the ring with him, you know? Well, I think the people here in Atlanta and all over the United States, the ones that have been following wrestling for years, the ones that have been looking at Bruiser Brody kicking people for the last 10 years, they know that Abdullah the Butcher's every bit of the man that Bruiser Brody comes out here and tells you he is every week. And I don't doubt that he's that tough a man. But I don't want the people here in Atlanta to think that they're going to get cheated. You remember 2 years ago when the Butcher came up that aisle in the Omni? And I jumped him before I ever got close to that ring. And I beat him from one end of that building to the next. And I know there was a lot of people who liked me a whole lot felt they got cheated. Well, I want the people in Atlanta to know one thing. When I get in that ring tomorrow night in the Omni, I'm bringing a little present for the Butcher. And for everybody else who continually thinks that they got cheated, I'm going to bring me a big roll, and I mean a big roll of barbed wire. You see all these old nasty cuts on my head, all these old big scars on my head? Well, I'm going to take that roll of barbed wire to the ring, and I'm going to make sure when the Butcher comes down that aisle, I'm going to grab him by the seat of them great big size 60 pants he is, and I'm going to pitch his big carcass in that ring, and I'm going to make sure that the referee strings that barbed wire around so there's no escape for either me or the Butcher. And when we're inside that barbed wire, that means there's only going to be one man that's going to walk out of that ring. And you're looking at him. You're looking at the man.
Thank you so very much, Bruiser Brody. And I'll tell you one thing. He is all man. There's no question about that. We're going to see him in action in the ring right now. So let's switch it to the squared circle. Bruiser Brody going up against Randy Barber. One fall. 10-minute time limit here on World Championship Wrestling. Nice to have folks here today. Ray Lacey from Chicago. Carol Bartnelli from Miami, and Madge Oates from Myrtle Beach. Folks from all over the country here at the Television Sports Arena watching World Championship Wrestling and seeing some of the greatest athletes in the world competing. No question about that. Brody down across the chest of Barber. And as Brody says, of course, the problem with finding competition for Brody is that it's difficult to find anybody his size. He's 6'5", over 300 pounds, and no avoirdupois on this man. It is muscle from head to foot. Barber catches it again on the top of the head. Patrick warning Brody to get back into the ring, and Brody, seeing his competition is outside the ring, rolls him back in. Brody closes in on him once again. And brother, there's the 300 pounds in the air. Beautiful drop kick. Well executed. Caught Barber in the side of the head, and Barber is down and out. It is virtually all over for Mr. Barber. Brings him up. Has him set for the pile driver. Barber, helpless, hangs on, and that's it. That is all she wrote. Barber is done. Barber is done, and Bruiser Brody. You know, Brody was making some comments about Abdullah the Butcher. It was just recently that Abdullah the Butcher was in a match, and there is no love lost between these two men. A lot of animosity exists between the two of them. And recently when Abdullah the Butcher was in the match, this happened. Abdullah the Butcher moving out now against Ed Timbs, and it is, ooh, brother. Timbs immediately hurdled from the ring, and Abdullah the Butcher exploding on him. And it is Abdullah the Butcher now being restrained by the referee, Nick Patrick. All right, Abdullah the Butcher continues to watch Timbs now as Timbs comes up very, very slowly. And as he does, Abdullah attacks him once again. I've got to say, you talk about intensity for intensity. Two men that have more of it for their size than any that I even know is this man, Abdullah the Butcher, and Bruiser Brody. And if you ever get those two exploding against each other, you talk about it, a volcano erupting. You've got it with them. Ooh, man. It's over. It's a, wait a minute. Wait a second. Bruiser Brody just charged the ring after Abdullah the Butcher. And you talk about a massive explosion. We've got it right now. Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody battling it out. And that's just a small sample. You can just imagine when these two finally do collide head up in a signed match what's going to happen. You talk about a monumental collision of giants. You've got it in Abdullah the Butcher, the wild man from the Sudan, and this man, Bruiser Brody. And right now, let's pay attention to this very, very special word concerning some upcoming events.